We're going to reflections of various people who've been learning from the various different communities. And I'm going to start with Rabbi Dr. Brian Sopher from Young Israel North Netanya, who's going to give us his insights into Sopher Kohelet.
Good evening. My name is Brian Sopher. I'm a doctor like Dr. Lieberman, and I'm also a rabbi like Dr. Lieberman. And unbeknownst to me, we both learnt in the same cycle. We both learnt through Web Yeshiva, which is an online yeshiva run by Rabbi Shlita. So we've known each other for many, many years. It was my delight to get involved in this program. So I've got to thank Shoshana Baker for. We started all this idea. It was a wonderful idea. I've got the invidious position of trying to speak about Kohelet after Jen Early, and I think we'll all be impressed how somebody like Jen is taking over, despite the adversity and the things that have happened to her. She's got the resilience and this drive to keep going, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. I always start my talks when I talk on our show with thanks to Hashem, who's given me the Chachma, Bina, and Dat to learn here. Yes, I know it's Chabad, but again, that goes back to my links. As you can tell, I was not born in England. I was born north of the border in Scotland and in Glasgow. And I think part of my education was from the Chabad emissary in Glasgow, Rabbi Chaim Jacobs Shlita, who's there after good on 50 odd years. So he educated me to get involved in this process. Now, I've also got to thank Emma Phillips, who's sitting over there. Because Emma was one of the people who cajoled me. Brian, she said, you can lead the study group. Let's have a study circle. You can do it, she said. And she got me interested in something that I've not really done before. And what we did in North Manchester is North Netanya, excuse the pun. Excuse the pun. What we did in North Netanya is we organised a study circle. So for 4 weeks during Elul, we met every Tuesday evening, and we decided rather than going through every chapter one a night, because it's such tough work, lots of insights, we divided it up and so we did 3 chapters every week. So in other words, over 4 week time, over a 4 week period, we covered the whole of the Sopher. The other thing that was most important was that I didn't lead everything. Rather than I to talk for hours at an end, we asked for volunteers. And the idea was that each person would volunteer to understand the Perek, to study it for themselves, come back to the group and present their findings. And I think this worked beautifully because people got ownership about the idea about Kohelet. They got ownership about their Perek, so much so that people from our group have written in the booklet that Shoshana prepared for us all. We've found this studying so successful that we've continued to have a North Netanya study circle. And we're going to meet on a regular basis to discuss Sopher Yehoshua. All living in Eretz Yisrael, all part of it, we'll learn the Torah, but at the end of the Torah, it ends in a knife edge. What happens next? What happens to Am Yisrael? Do they cross the Jordan? So I think it was important that we spend the winter months studying what actually happens. How we actually came here, how we put down our roots, and why even all these thousands of years ago, our roots are so embedded in this land that we're connected to the land and the land is connected to us. So my next little advert is, if you want to join in, our first meeting is going to be Monday, November the 11th at 7:30. Contact Emma Phillips for further details. Right, Kohelet. Like all of us, if I'd said the word Kohelet to you, you'd go, oy vey, how depressing, or vanity of vanities, or if you're really studious, you know, it's a time for this and a time for that. So what have we got through? Or when you think, why have I got to go through Kohelet? Why have we got to say Kohelet in Sukkot? Shabbat Chol Hamoed is long enough as it is. Have I got to sit and shul for another half an hour? And usually, like me, your mind wanders. Not say go sleep, your mind wanders. But then, in previous years, like many of us, I invested in Rabbi Sachs, his Machzorim. And that was a revelation. He's got a lovely, long introduction. And I read the introduction, and something started to make sense about Kohelet. And then last year, Maggie Books, another plug, brought out 2 books about Kohelet. One by Dr. Erica Brown, which is so comprehensive. You just did little bits. She's a very comprehensive Sopher. And one by one of our last lectures of Kohelet series, David Kerwin, his book, Kohelet, the Map of Eden. So I've read these books. Again, I use my another plug advert for my books. My bookseller is Pomeranz Booksellers in Jerusalem. Pomeranz Books, up at Airy Street, Jerusalem. It's excellent, excellent booksellers, and they will deliver to Netanya. So, I even thought of the rabbis who live in North Netanya, asked them for some help how to study Kohelet. And the rabbi said, I've spent 12 months studying it. Or the Rabbi Jonathan said, I've spent studying it, I still don't understand it. So I had to think, how are we going to make it interesting? How can we make it interesting? So there's certain things, certain buzzwords that I began to understand. And I think there are 2 parts, I found there's 2 parts to Kohelet. There's Kohelet the man and Kohelet the Megillah. As Emma said, Kohelet the man is depressed. It's clinical depression. Everything's just passed me by. What am I going to do with life? He's looking at the end of the life, I'm the beginning of the life. There's this chapter at the end, chapter 12, where it's a beautiful elegiac discussion about life just tumbling down. About these, I'm losing my sight, I'm losing my mind, I'm losing my brain. Even the mill sounds I can't hear. So in other words, even I couldn't hear the disco properly. It's just everything's tumbling down. I couldn't hear the noises tumbling down. And that was my idea of Kohelet. And Kohelet the man is depressed. Think about it. Chapter 2 tells us Kohelet the man is Shlomo. He's got much wisdom than anybody else. He's got more wealth than anybody else. He's got as many women as he wants. He's got vineyards, as much wine as he wants. He's got all the horses, all the stables. He built magnificent palaces. Melech Shlomo was blessed to build the most phenomenal Bet Mikdash that there has been, where the Shekhinah dwelt. But yet, Hevel. So I had to think, what's Hevel? It can't be vanity of vanities. King James got it wrong. We know that. It's not being vain. Is it futility of futilities? And Rabbi Sachs says is breath of shortness of breath. And he links it to Cain and Hevel. But then if you say it onomatopoeically, in other words, a word that spells as it sounds, and you go, Hevel. It's a breath. As a doctor, you talk to teach short breath. A short, sharp breath. So that's it. So that was my clue. And then another light bulb moment. Where's Hevel? Where do we know that Hevel is to do with a mortal breath? Where do we also read this word Hevel? Now, Neville knows we read Hevel because Motzei Shabbat, before we end Shabbat, we sing. And you're going to get a little song for a minute. Let me get the word right, which is LeDavid Baruch Hashem Tzori Hamalamed Yodei Likrav Salam Milchama. We sing that in the end of Shabbat, which is Psalm 144. Blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. Lovely, very nice. But here's the punchline. Verse 3 starts, Hashem ma'adam v'tedehu ben anosh v'hehu. God, what is man that you care for him? Mortal man that you think of him. Verse 4, thank you over the corner. Odom lehevel dama yomov ketzel over. Man is like a breath. Got it. Hevel has got to be a breath. His days are like a passing shadow. And again, Melech Shlomo is thinking about his life, how things have gone. He's supposed to be at 52 when he died, but how long is Hevel? How long is your days on the earth? In other words, his father, look at the Psalms of his father. Psalm 90, Tzaddik, that we will read tomorrow morning, we read in Yom Tov, which is Tefillah Mosh Isha Eish Elokim. And then it says, Yereshan Atenu Behem Shivim Shana. So the days of our life are going to be 70 years. And if you're lucky, you'll get 80. But then revum amal vavonki gaskish vavenvehu. Because 80 years, because they are but toil, amal. So there's another buzzword. Hevel is all over the place. Amal, what is amal? Amal is toil without great reward. Avoda is service in Hashem, but amal. And Kohelet mentions this word amal a great deal, many times. But as I said, Kohelet, the man, is depressed. Kohelet, the Sopher, has lots of things that are important. And as we're all saying at Sukkot, the word simcha, as even Rabbi Sachs says, simcha, joy in the moment, this lovely joy in the moment, where we can do, as everybody said, Hashem lispod, but Hashem likud. You can do the things together. It's a time for this, a time to mourn, but a time to dance. And that's simcha. And simcha is there. I thought simcha was there 18 times in the book. And if it is, then simcha is joy. And joy is actually life. So simcha is equal to the joy of life. And that's what he's trying to tell us, that the joys in the simple things. How can we do simcha? We got a double simcha with Chag Sukkot. As Jen said, V'somachta v'chagecha. And that's what it says at the end of Parshas Re'eh. But it also says, Ach someach. Ach, this little word, ach. So in other words, V'somachta v'chagecha, enjoy in the festival. Simcha, ach. Whatever happens, whatever happens goes through, someach, you've got to be enjoyed. Not just for Pesach, not for Shavuot, but Sukkot. So whatever happens, ach someach. Now let's finish with a little bit of Kohelet. What is Kohelet saying? He's saying if we involve the simple things in life. Two of the talks that we heard in the series, the Sunday evening series, one was from Dr. Tanya White, and she says Kohelet is the first existentialist. An existentialist weighs up all the bad things in life, oblivion. Even in the face of oblivion, he says, wait for it. Keep calm and carry on. Kohelet is saying, keep calm and carry on. Professor Sam Liebens told us that things are in the present. Time is of the essence. Time is now. And doing something as simple as a bracha, saying the word Baruch to Hashem, blessing Hashem, or doing a mitzvah is now, in the moment, is gone. You've taken, it's gone, so you can't lose that. So what are my buzzwords for Kohelet at the end? The end of the thing is, remember what it says, it says in the Kohelet, it's chapter 9. Not just enjoy the days of your life, enjoy the bread that you eat. That's good, it's a simcha. Enjoy the wine that you drink. Enjoy being well clothed, looking after yourself. But the best bit of the whole thing, Kohelet, the one that always gets me is chapter 9. Let me get it all complete to you exactly, get it completely right, is be aware of the person you love. Be with them all the days of your life. At the chevel, look after, appreciate the woman, person you love. He says appreciate your wife, but oppositely, appreciate your spouse. I think that's the most important thing. But in the end, after all, at the end of all 12 chapters, whether it was written by Shlomo or written by the Knesh Gedolah, the most important thing is the following. Sof hadavar hakol nishma et ha'elakim yireh ve'et mitzvot ki zeh kol adam. The sum of the matter, when it all has been considered, fear God and observe his mitzvahs, for that's all of man. Fear God and observance of mitzvot, that's the real matter. It's for us to continue what Kohelet started. I've got a great deal out of reading Kohelet. My wife says I'm now a Kohelet junkie. And I thank you to Shoshana and Rabbi Johnny for getting me involved in this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian, in your wonderful, inimitable way, has given us some great insights there into Kohelet. I'm going to ask now Ginger Pinchot. From Snack. So give us her insight. Okay. Yeah, let's put this over here. There we go.
So first, thank you to Shoshana and all those who enable. You gotta keep it closer. Can you hold it for us, please? Thank you. Okay. Now, let me know if you can't hear me, please. Can you hear me now? No? First, thank you to Shoshana and all those who enabled us to see the complexity and the depth of this magnificent Sopher. I say magnificent because, like all wisdom literature, Kohelet can be compared to a diamond with its many facets, viewed from various angles, and we've already experienced that this evening. Its brilliance shines through its readers' interpretations. We've been privileged through presentations and discussions to discover the validity of its many interpretations. Wisdom literature doesn't come at us directly. It's so different from the voices of our prophets. Instead, Solomon, assuming he wrote Kohelet, instructs us subtly and indirectly. He begins by presenting the harsh realities of life. All agree we can't know the mind of God. Our lives are temporary, only a breath. We need to search to find meaning in life and what it means to be human. The combination of these realities bring pain, humility, and grappling with our own mortality. However, we learned that Solomon's antidote to the pains of life with its quest for meaning is joy. Quoting Rabbi Sachs, Dr. Rabbi Sam Levins points out that 7 times in Kohelet, nihilism is interrupted by simcha. It's interrupted by joy. And the number 7 is not to be overlooked because 7 always means creation, the creation of moments of joy. When we connect with God through nature or through relationships, and that's what gives our life meaning. As Dr. White expressed, it's finding joy in a temporary existence. In the book of Kohelet, King Solomon teaches us the significance of experiencing moments of joy as he indirectly reveals obstacles which inhibits those moments to reach us. He chooses to disclose those obstacles through presenting opposing psychological perspectives of life. And this may help to explain the many contradictions that we find in this Sopher. Several presenters describe these contradictions, either as different voices within one head, Shlomo at different times in his life, page 3. Thank you. Or as voices representing different people, the philosopher, the builder. I myself choose to interpret Solomon presenting us with the different psychological perspectives or mental frameworks that shape our perceptions, thoughts, and experiences. And let me just give you 3 examples. There are those of us who view a glorious sunset, and living here in Netanya, we certainly experience sunsets every night, really. There are those of us who look at it and say, I've seen that before. There's nothing new under the sun. And they really go through life with that frame of mind. And contrast this approach to life with those who experience what Heschel calls radical amazement. As Dr. Josefa Rubble points out, seeing the sunset in radical amazement viewing it in all its glory as God's glory in the natural world, thereby creating a moment of joy, wonder, and connection to Hashem. Although fleeting, these moments of connection give meaning to life. A second psychological perspective that allows for moments of joy is the significance of now. And that's what our eloquent speaker before talked about. As described by Rabbi Levins, today's psychologists call it being in the moment. A perfect example occurred when I attended a birthday party of a relative who turned 100. As she spoke eloquently of her gratitude for being blessed with this milestone, my heart filled with joy, and